Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Seasonal Tokens Podcast, where Polar interviews people so you can do more investing and less gambling.
And now, the continuation of last week's episode.
Are you bullish on DeFi?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely bullish, but before that, they have to change the way they think and the way they or the place they target. Because right now, what I see is DeFi projects. Because I'm also advisor on some projects. They're still trying to invite to their projects and sell to those that are already in the crypto. But they're not working that much on making the pie bigger, which I think is one of the biggest mistakes that the DeFi projects are currently doing.
I mean, I think it's hard because you have to understand crypto to even transfer, to use a bridge and go onto these other chains, which a lot of DeFi projects are on. You have to understand crypto in the first place.
Yeah, but you remember the case with Reddit?
Reddit?
Yeah, and 3 million NFTs sold without people knowing that they're actually buying NFTs.
Were they buying them? I thought it was just airdropped to people.
No.
I thought each
They have bought them.
Can you tell me more about this?
Yeah, so they have started this campaign of you can buy an avatar and then you can have it, and then if you want, you can transfer it to another Ethereum address.
Yeah, so it's a managed wallet. We're actually thinking of doing that for our project Commit Club.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about that. Nike launched this thing called .swoosh.
The marketplace.
You know it. Yeah. And so it's a Web3 project, but they have, and this is brilliant, and we did this with Commit Club. If you check out our landing page, I scrubbed all mentions of crypto and Web3 from our landing page. And Nike did the same thing. No mention of crypto, Web3, blockchain addresses, no mention of a wallet on their page. And it's the same with us. And I think that's what I'm saying though. Bullish on blockchain. And so it sounds like Reddit did that too.
Exactly. But what my point was that actually there is a way to attract a lot of users to the blockchain without telling them that they're coming to the blockchain.
Yeah.
In the crypto space. And this is what we're whacking off right now.
Right. This guy, I listened to this podcast with this guy, Gabe Layden, who actually I had the pleasure of meeting during my time running the blockchain meetup group. And Gabe Layden, this billionaire founder of Machine Zone. And he did this incredible podcast where he said NFT sales, that's over. The hot thing is just airdropping NFTs to people for free, getting them into the space. And so he has this project where he's airdropping billions of NFTs to onboard people in the space. And their first encounter is going to be his project. And I think they had raised $200 million already. And man, that podcast, if you listen to Gabe Layden speak, that one thing did make me really bullish when I listened to how he was talking about it. My problem is whenever I start thinking about the fundamentals and I question couldn't this use a standard database? And maybe there's something I'm missing, and I'm totally open to that being the case. But I understand the appeal of NFTs, even if they're not fully decentralized. So Reddit. Sorry, I keep getting sidetracked. I'm very excited by this conversation. So Reddit airdropped 3 million, or no. You bought your avatar, and it was actually an NFT.
Yeah.
In a managed wallet. But if you wanted, you could transfer it out into your own wallet.
Exactly. And this is how you actually get 3 million people more on the blockchain without them knowing that they're on the blockchain. So this is what I think that somehow, when you are inside a problem, you don't see outside of the problem. So that's why I believe that advisors and mentors and coaches are very important for the progress in life, in business, your finances and everything. Because I have a feeling that all the current projects are thinking like crypto project owners, not like business owners.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I've been in the space for years, and there's so many. They don't think like you would in a Web2 business. Which Web2 businesses, you're more likely. Sure, there's plenty of scammers out there, but I think you're more likely to have solid fundamentals. You're more likely to keep a responsible treasury, and spend in a responsible manner, and not go crazy on your headcount just to flex.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And like, if they think like a normal standard business, and forget for a moment that we're in the crypto and Web3 space, and they put this question on the top of their mind and on their plans, like how to attract more users outside of the crypto space to our amazing project that solves this and this, like how we can do it. And if they answer this question, then they can probably explode. And this will not only help them, but it will help them. It will help the whole Web3 space. And this is what we need right now. It's stupid, like 200, 200, like millions of projects to compete for 100 million users when they can all fight together to make the audience not 100, but make it 1 billion.
I get it. Okay, so I have a question.
Okay.
Fine. All these Reddit users purchase their avatars. Here's an important question. How many of them actually care to transfer their avatar out and own it outright and not have it in a managed wallet?
I haven't made this research, and I don't have these stats to answer you, but you are not right now a client of Reddit, right? You are a buyer of Reddit. So it's
what is Raid?
Reddit.
Oh, Reddit. Yeah. I didn't buy an avatar on Reddit.
Yeah, but the thing is that now, let's say if we go back to the standard Web2 marketing, now you have a list of 3 million buyers of avatars, right? So you can easily mail this list and start educating these 3 million people what they have actually bought and what are the other additional benefits of having this avatar. Like, for example, selling it as an NFT or using it for another discount somewhere on another shop, or I don't know what else they can provide, but another type of value. And they can do this easily with a simple, like, behavior-oriented email marketing campaign. And this is how from this 3 million, we can get, let's say, 10%, 300,000 people in the next 3 months interested and invested more in not only NFTs, but in crypto. Because if you start understanding NFTs, then it's not that hard to start understanding crypto too. So
that's true.
So this is what I believe is a great first step in the process. And after that, you just have to follow a proven marketing strategies that are not very complicated. And then you can land, like I said, from 3,300,000 people at least for 3 months.
So wait, you just gave a pretty strong use case about NFTs. And whenever my mind goes back to that use case, I become more bullish on it. And actually, that just happened. But so how come you're not bullish on NFTs? Because you just gave a great use case for NFTs.
For now, I'm not that bullish because of the marketing that I'm seeing that's going on. Let's say it like that. Like from what I read, from what I see, And the other thing that don't make me that bullish on NFTs, at least for now, is that people are more focused on the things that you just mentioned. That Gary Vee is talking about collectibles. Is this actually the main idea of NFT technology? I don't think so.
No.
Like,
For me, what got me, so when after we made this game, we started thinking about the metaverse a lot, and we were one of the early people thinking about that. And something that I read, I had seen the movie, but I read Ready Player One. And Ready Player One showed what a real metaverse would be like. And in Ready Player One, you like, or you think about it like all of these projects, you have your own digital asset, and then they can all live in this metaverse together and interact with each other. And that concept for NFTs, where like your digital asset can give you all of these abilities in all these other worlds, that's really promising. But here's where my mind gets like really messed up. I'm gonna tell you where my mind gets really messed up. So, okay, you have the digital asset, and it's great because it's yours and you own it, and no one can take it from you. But what if you do something that like the metaverse owner doesn't like, or the most popular platforms don't like, and then they say this NFT can't interact with this project anymore, and they all do that, and that happens. Like wallet addresses get blacklisted all the time. So you have this NFT now, and now it carries no value unless there's a project that's brave enough to not blacklist it. And that's when my mind goes down that rabbit hole. That's kind of where I start going bearish again. I don't know. I'd love for your thoughts on what I just said.
Yeah, I think that what you're saying is definitely happening. But what actually worries me the most about NFTs, and why I'm so bearish for now at least, but I hope this will be changed soon, is the fact that is also that still NFT projects are deeply focused on cartoon images and people are searching for cartoon images, and they're not searching and thinking about real use cases. And also because they're not doing much on getting new users onboarded, which I believe is the biggest issue. Because even if we have the most amazing NFT feature in the world, even if we have the most expensive collectibles on the blockchain and as NFTs, like if we don't have the user base to buy this, why we need them in the end?
Yeah.
Like, what's the value in them? Like we need users to give value to all these developments. Otherwise, like they'll die like the next inventor of the light bulb, for example. Because it doesn't make sense for them to exist. Like there is someone behind this project who needs to feed his or her family, and if nobody uses his technology, like he has to change this. So this is why I am not so bullish at the moment. I just think that NFT projects, actually founders of the NFT projects, are more dreaming than doing something about inviting more people to the NFT space.
They're doing a lot of dreaming.
Exactly. And it's great to dream. I'm sure that you agree with me, but in the end, this will not change the amount of users or make the space a better place.
I think that the space will only change when I think it'll only change when more of the ecosystem is decentralized. Right now, the ecosystem is quite centralized.
Yeah.
If you have a project you're on, you're hosted. You're most likely hosted on a centralized server. You're using centralized hosting. You are using Web2 social media. You have a GitHub. So you probably have a Discord. And I know people who have like they're really well-funded Web3 competitors to Discord. So that's cool. That's cool that that's being decentralized. For now, those projects, though, they are still centralized because they're new and they need to iterate and they can't just set those smart contracts free.
I agree with you on this one, but at the same time, I don't think that it is actually that bad to have some sort of a centralization, because like in the end, maybe technology is not perfect. Like
it's not, and that's why. But that's my whole point. The whole grass is greener with a decentralized future thing is unrealistic.
Yeah,
that's like, and that's what I didn't get when I first got 5 years ago, when I got into Web3, I got really hyped about the decentralized future. And I was a lot younger then and a lot more naive, and I didn't understand how unrealistic that was.
I think it's a good starting point to be that full of hopes of the decentralized future, and after that to see what's the reality. But actually, this helps you to judge better, to decide what project or what token can help more with the progress of Web3 in the end. So I think dreams in the beginning are good, but then you have to quickly become
dreams
realistic.
are good, but dreams are also how SBF defrauded all those people. Like literally, that's like, you could read like that's what he came in and peddled, was these crazy dreams.
True, absolutely. But let's get back the conversation a little bit on another topic which is important for the community that is listening, and that is like crypto investing. So what do you think are the most important things for someone that is just starting out to look for in a project in order to decide if she should invest in it or not? Let's forget for a moment about how decentralized is the current blockchain. But yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it depends on your strengths. I'm particularly good at judging the integrity of founders and looking at the jockey, not the horse. I am very strong at that, and I'm able to identify people who will be successful founders years before they're ever successful founders. Before they believe in themselves, I believe in them, and I say, you have what it takes, and I can kind of tell. I'm not the best judge when it comes to, like, I don't day trade because I'm not good at it. I prefer the like long hold method, the hodl method, if you will.
Yes, so you're bringing a very, very important point right now, and it is that it's better for people to invest in projects that they understand and concepts that they understand and team management that they understand.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's like, but the thing is, like, if you're just getting in, like you said, this is advice for someone who's just getting into crypto investing, and if you're just getting into crypto investing, you probably don't understand it. Like, I think you need experience to understand it. I think you need like a decent, you need to be like, so here was what I learned my first year in crypto. I was really intimidated, and as a result, to become less intimidated, I read like every white paper that I could get my hands on. White papers were the thing back then. They're not really anymore. In 2017, because the Bitcoin white paper was so huge and widely read, and the Ethereum white paper was so huge and widely read, all these altcoin ICOs put out their own white paper. And the white paper was the number one piece of marketing propaganda. And so I read all of these white papers, and I thought, but I wasn't certain, but I thought, okay, but all of these projects could just use a normal database, but there must be something that I'm missing. And I'm a very humble person, and so that's why I thought there was something that I was missing, but in fact, I wasn't missing anything. They all could have used databases, they all failed. And they didn't need to be using blockchain, and they were all just cash grabs. All of them, they were all just cash grabs. And I think if you're just getting into crypto investing, you're probably going to think the same thing like me. Well, I'm new, and it seems like this project doesn't need to work this way, and it's just a cash grab. But you know what? I'm new, so I must be wrong. And it's a fine line between, because I think it's healthy to believe that you're wrong. I think it's healthy to be humble. But investing in projects where where the founders aren't public, and you don't understand it, that's like, yeah, you can get lucky for sure. And I know people who have been lucky, but I think that's largely a recipe for disaster. I think it's like, it's try your best to understand it. If you don't understand it, message on Discord in the community so you can understand it. And try to see if the founders are doxed, if you can tell who the founders are. But also like try to understand the project. And then if you can understand the project and ask a million billion questions to the point where you're annoying and no one will even answer you anymore, because this is your money. And like, if you're going into it and you don't get it, you're going to fail. Like a friend of mine, he like, man, he would message me all the time and he'd be like, yo, the merge is coming. Like, I'm so bullish. I'd say, why? He couldn't understand it, but he surrounds himself with like yes men idiots. Or he's like, yo man, Bored Ape Yacht, ape token, man, ape token. I'm going ape token. I'm like, why? Couldn't understand it. Couldn't explain it. And he's lost so much money. He lost so much money. And I would try to ask him to explain it, and he couldn't explain it. And so be able to like explain it to yourself, be able to explain it to your friends, be able to understand it yourself. If you can do that, then like, yeah, fine, go in. That's my advice. If you can, like, Discords, any reputable project will have a Discord that you can go in and ask a bajillion questions to get it. And don't give in to the hype of investing in projects that you don't understand, because there's a lot of that, especially in DeFi. There's a lot of people who don't understand DeFi, but they want to be involved in DeFi. And so they invest in the DeFi. And for a little while, they get lucky, and then they get... So, I don't know. What do you think of that advice? Is that terrible advice? Medium advice?
I think it's a perfect advice, and you're absolutely right. And I have done also this mistake when I started. Like, I just wanted to be in DeFi, and I have invested in so many different projects, 95% of which I didn't understand at all. I got lucky, but I also got screwed really bad. So I suppose it's part of the process. So maybe if I had the chance to talk with someone that can tell me this, like, maybe it's better for you to try to understand, read more, ask questions, and then make your decision. Forget about the emotions, like forget about this FOMO thing, forget about the hype. But like,
I would say this, there's only one instance where you can invest without understanding the project. And that's if you know the founder personally. There are some people that I know personally who I have known for years and years and years and years. They're some of my best friends. And if I have the opportunity to invest in their projects, I'm going to do it because I trust them. I trust them with my life. I trust them with my money. And that's the only case. I will do it blindfolded. I really will, because I trust them so much, and I know there's a really good chance of their projects popping off. And they're most of them are already accomplished founders. That's the only case where I think it's acceptable. But if it's like a random project that you find on Twitter or something, like, you're not, even if the team is doxed, like people lie all the time. So you got to understand it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it takes time, it takes money, it takes pain in order to understand that. It's not something that you understand because Edward has told this on a podcast or someone else. You have to feel it in order to believe it.
I mean, but that's the thing, and that's one of the reasons why crypto has had all these waves. It's because you have these retail investors who they just straight up don't have the capabilities to understand it, and so they're going off what their friends are telling them to invest in. Their friends don't understand it either, and it's this terrible chain of people who don't understand giving terrible advice to each other, and everyone gets burned. Like, so, I mean, like, I just think investing in something you don't really understand is like dumb unless you have like a ton of money to play around with, and you're willing to like play the lottery. Okay, but like, I'll give an example. I have a friend. He's a front-end developer. And he still got scammed. He gave his private keys out on some phishing website, and I'm like, how you give your private keys out on you're a dev? He's like, I don't know, I didn't realize. And so like, there's a lot of like, understand it. I think the problem is, and it's a problem with all things in life, is that people are just too afraid to ask questions and look stupid. Yeah. And I would rather be knowledgeable, but come off as stupid by asking all these questions than not be knowledgeable and actually be stupid, but not seem stupid. I'd rather not be stupid and seem stupid than not seem stupid and be stupid.
Yeah, that's definitely a better case for sure. But you're bringing a very important question about the crypto space, which is that let's say that a good amount of people, I don't want to say a percentage, are actually gamblers, not investors in crypto. So what do you think a person can do more in order to do investing rather than gambling in crypto?
Well, that's what we talked about. Ask a lot of questions in Discord. And then take notes and like make mental models, make physical written models so that you understand the project. Like really like pretend that you're studying for your biggest test. Like that's the level that you should be putting into understanding these projects. Like you're studying for a huge test, and when you do that, you memorize everything. You want to understand how everything works. Unless it's like some BS school test where it's just rote memorization, but hopefully it's not. But like, yeah, like write everything down and do your best to understand it and ask these questions. And if someone can't give you a straight answer, then investigate that more, because that means that there might be a problem there that undermines the whole feasibility of the project. And the real scary thing is that like when a lot of these projects launch, they use market makers. So they seem, or they get lucky, but they seem like they are immediately successful, and you really feel FOMO. You feel like you really missed out. And then, a year later, you made the right move. So yeah, I think you're just way better off investing in things that you really understand. And then I don't even know when to take out. When do you stop hodling? What's your opinion on that? When do you actually pull out? When do you make your funds liquid?
This is just me. I can't talk for anybody else, but I have goals for all of my investments, like a specific point of, let's say, price or percentage that I want to reach with this investment. When I'm going to liquidate 50%, then 70%, then step 100% of my investment.
That's smart.
And then move to the next thing. And I'm not that, how to say it, that somehow connected to a specific deadline. Like, I don't care if it is going to take 1 month, 3 months, 1 year, 3 years, or more. Like for me, the most important thing is the goal, and I may be wrong. Maybe I have done the wrong thinking, the wrong investigation, the wrong decision. But when I made investment, like if the goal is not reached, I'm just holding, right, like you. I'm not a trader. I'm very
No,
emotional.
it's
When
smart. It's very smart.
yeah, so this is what I do.
Do you always withdraw your principal like the second it doubles? So let's say you put 5,000 in, now it's worth 10,000. Do you immediately take out the 5,000?
This is why I said that I have different goals with different percentages.
I see.
Like for some projects, it may sound funny, but I have the goal of 10x money.
Sure. It doesn't sound funny. We've had it happen.
Yeah, but I don't know. Just for a standard, ordinary stock market investor, this will be funny. I can guarantee you that.
Sure.
So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So let's say that if
the reason I've had it happen is because, and I've taken all my money out, but the reason I had it happen was because the projects where I did have that return, it was projects where I knew the founders. There was one that I got lucky on where it was like two people who I was really close to. They told me, actually, that one was kind of similar. So this one was, I'll name one, but this one I didn't take it out. It's called FWB.help. It's probably the most well-known DAO, or one of them. Do you know FWB?
I think that I have heard about it, but I'm definitely not invested in it.
Yeah, they were like one of the first DAOs and one of the most well-known DAOs. And so here's what happened. So I met some guy on some like virtual networking service, and we really hit it off. And he's been in crypto for a while. And he's like, oh man, you got to join this FWB community. It's this DAO. And in order to join, you have to pay like, I think $300 to buy like 50 tokens or something, 50 NFTs. Or I don't think they were, I don't know if they were NFTs. I don't remember if they were ERC-721 or ERC-20, probably ERC-20. And I guess probably ERC-20, yeah. And then you join, then you have to apply too. You can't, like, buying the tokens isn't enough. You have to apply. And once you hold the tokens and you have a successful application, they let you into this Discord. And it's a really vetted community, and everyone votes on all the community initiatives. And I'm like, well, that sounds sweet. And he knew the founders personally. They were his friends. But the only reason I didn't do it was because I'm in a million other cool crypto communities. And so I'm just like, I don't need another one. And then another friend of mine, my friend Peg, who's also, she is a close friend. This guy, he was a stranger who I met on a networking service. And now he's a friend. But Peg was a close friend, and I know Peg, and she gets around. She meets tons of great people like I do. And she asked me like 2 months later, she was at Miami Blockchain Week, and she's like, have you heard of this FWB thing? And I'm like, okay, you're the second person to tell me this, and I probably should do it. And so at that point, I had to pay, I think, $460 for 75 of these tokens. And I applied, and I was let in immediately. Now no one can get into this DAO, which is kind of funny. And so I paid $475 for these 75 tokens. And I was in the DAO. The guy who was in the DAO before, like, the guy who introduced me, he was in it. My friend Pag joined. And it turned out that actually I knew the founders too. I didn't know who the founders were at the time, but I had worked with them in 2018. So I knew them too. But I didn't invest. I didn't like go into the DAO because I knew them. I just went in because my friend Peg, who I was close to and who I trust, she told me to do it. And I know that she gets around, and I had heard it from this other guy as well. And it sounded like a unique project in crypto too. I researched it and I understood it, how it worked. And I'm like, wow, this is unique. So yeah, sure. But then what happened was, I think this is like indicative of a lot of people's crypto experience. So A16Z ended up investing in FWB. And this was like a few months after I had gotten in and I still had my 75 tokens. And Andreessen invested $10 million at a $100 million valuation, valuing each token at $100 per token. And so all of a sudden, my 75 tokens now by A16Z standards are worth 7,500. That's a pretty good return. And I didn't sell anything. And then because of hype and speculation, they were trading on Uniswap for twice that. So if I was to have made it liquid, I would have gotten a $14,500 return on my $500 investment into the DAO. And I ended up staying in the community. So that one wasn't, I think if there wasn't this secondary nature attached to these tokens. So in order to actually be in this community, have access to these people in the Discord, you have to own the tokens. If I had sold the tokens, I would have not been able to partake in the community or meet people through it. And so I'm like, I think this community will yield me more than $14,500, more than $15,000 worth of value. And so I'm not going to sell these tokens. And I stayed in the community. Now the tokens are worth, I checked yesterday, it's like those $15,000 worth of tokens are now worth $650. And, but I've met with incredible people through that community. So I like people who are doing really amazing things still in Web3. I don't know. Should I have sold those tokens? Maybe.
Amazing. Actually, you are mentioning something really important. I think that if there are crypto project founders that are listening to the podcast, they have just received the best blueprint of how to actually make people hold their tokens and not just be investors, speculators, or whatever you want to call it. I think this
yeah, but if I'm being cold and objective, like I meet great people everywhere. I probably should have just sold the tokens. Who knows? Maybe those people will make me more than $15,000 in the future. I don't know.
I think so. You know, your network is your net worth. Your life is structured in a way that you can meet so many people, so many great people, but at the same time, like, I don't think that there are many people that can be like you. So having the tokens is much easier and much more feasible than being in your shoes, having your life, having your achievements and things like that. So in the end, I think that what you just described as a way of keeping people invested in the project is a proven strategy to have a successful product.
True.
So Edward, I think that this is one of the great podcasts that I have ever been creating. And
wow.
The thing is that it's already pretty long. So I'm going to split it into two parts so people can be able to listen to all that we have said and have the patience to hear all the knowledge, wisdom that you have shared. Before we finish, where people can find more about you and contact with you?
So my official Twitter is at Edward_Sturm, but I actually just started this new build in public Twitter. I'm like one of the first people to be doing a video build in public diary where I share videos about my startup journey. And that one is at Show Progress, one word, Show Progress on Twitter. And you can check out our project as well. It's commitclub.co. Our project is commitclub.co. Check out the video build in public diary at Show Progress. DM me wherever. Hit me up on LinkedIn. Hit me up on Twitter. I love to chat. I love to talk always, all the time. Yeah.
Perfect. So thank you very much, Edward, for being a guest. I think that this is the most, how to say, interactive and discussion-oriented podcast episode that I have ever recorded. Thank you very much for that.
My pleasure.
So thank you very much to all of our listeners that have been part of the episode so far. Thank you very much for your support, and I would be really grateful if you can share with your friends what you have just heard, and listen to our next episode. So yeah, I'm Power, the CMO of Seasonal Tokens, and I'll talk to you on the next episode. Bye.